Welcome back, everybody, to another great episode of American Podcast. This is Ben, and we're joined by our guest Leon, and we're going to talk about all things that are American so that you guys can learn a bit about American culture, about the American mindset, how we think, what we like, what we don't like, and basically all things American. So welcome to the podcast. Before we begin, everybody, please click the subscribe button, and also the next step is very important. So make sure you do it. Click the bell. After you subscribe, click the bell and select always. And that way, I'm sorry, not always, all. Click the bell, select all, and that way you'll for sure get shown our videos. Whenever we upload videos, YouTube will show them to you on your feed. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell, select all, and that's it. You'll be set. All right, so let's begin, and let's welcome back Leon. Leon, how's it going?
Not bad at all. How's it going, Ben? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, doing well. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Awesome. Hello, everyone.
All right, and hello. Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well, and hope you guys like our office today. If you guys don't know where we're at, we are in none other than Jackson, Wyoming. Have you guys heard of Jackson, Wyoming, or Wyoming? One of the states in America, one of the perfectly rectangular states, right? We don't have very many of those, do we?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, and a large state.
Uh-huh.
And so we're in a well-known city in Wyoming called Jackson. Sometimes people call it Jackson Hole also. But what you might want to know about this place is that it is a popular destination for people who are into the outdoors. Like they'll go in the winter for skiing and in the summer for hiking, fishing, maybe watching wildlife. And it's also surrounded by these great mountains called the Grand Tetons, and it's really dramatic and really beautiful. And even during the summer, there'll be snow capped. It's really gorgeous. So something maybe you want to Google it. And if you visit the U.S. and if you have time, visit Jackson, Wyoming, and the Grand Tetons. Okay, so this is where we're at today, our imaginary office with that beautiful view. What do you think of our office today, Leon?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, look at that. It's breathtaking. Look at the view that you have. I mean, like what Ben's saying, also you can do like camping. A lot of people does camping. And
Oh,
actually, Wyoming is one of the most last of the cowboys. I had a
oh, okay.
ex-coworker that actually lived in Wyoming, and he was telling me that it's the last of the cowboys. There's a lot of cowboys in Wyoming. So that's a good thing to see. And, the last of them cowboys, right? It's not
Oh,
really
yeah.
Texas as everybody thinks it is, but it's actually in Wyoming. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good, fun trivia right there. I didn't know that. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get started. While I can stare at that pool all day, reflecting the gorgeous mountains,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So let's get started. We're going to talk today about the education system in America, how it's structured, so that you guys get an idea of what our schools are like. And to start, we use the word school to refer to all levels of education. I've spoken to a lot of English learners who are very surprised when I say school, and I'm talking about the university level, because they'll say we're going to university. They won't say we're going to school. Whereas Americans, would you agree, Leon? We just say we're in school, right? Even if we're
Yeah.
getting our PhD.
Yeah. I mean, we just say we're in college. Sometimes say, you mean college or university? Well, I mean, we interchangeably use it, but they're two different things, college and university, if you want to be technical about it. But they're pretty much the same thing. I mean, we just, yeah, like you said, we just say we go to school. We use that too. But most of the time we say, I go to college instead of saying
Yes,
I go to university. Yeah.
right, right. After high school, we go to college. Whether you're going to a college, like it's actually a college versus a university, typically we say college. I
Hmm.
think that it's more common for people to say we're going to college as opposed to we're going to university, even if you in
Hmm.
fact are going to an institution that is a university as opposed to a college, right?
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's start people from the beginning. I think that at the very beginning here we have kindergarten, which I don't recall. Is that optional? Most kids go to kindergarten, right? At what age, 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think it's about 5 years old. Usually
Yeah,
5 years old go to kindergarten.
right.
Um, I don't think it's option. I think you go to kindergarten, right?
Okay.
Preschool, yeah, preschool is optional. It's kind of you take your
Okay.
kids to preschool, then they can prepare themselves before they go to kindergarten. So they kind of adjust to the school environment. So a lot of parents, they take their kids to a preschool.
Yes, that's true. Preschool is optional, and maybe that's like 3 years old or something. So they
Yeah.
don't do much there. They're just playing. Really, it's about social interactions, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to deal with the hard sciences until kindergarten when they're doing chemistry. And no, I'm
Mhm.
I'm joking. Um, but yeah, so then preschool, kindergarten at 4 or 5, four maybe, and then we start the different grade levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and in schools, I mean, you start off with the kindergarten, and then the next one is elementary. Basically, elementary is the same thing as kindergarten, but we just kind of separate the kindergarten. And then, of course, the elementary is from first grade to, I believe, fifth grade, right?
Oh.
Sixth, seventh, and eighth is junior middle school or middle school, and then, of
Hmm.
course, the high school, 9 to 12. Yeah.
And what is really interesting is like some schools, like maybe this is more of a West Coast thing, or is it a Southern California thing? But um, some schools, it's first grade through eighth grade is elementary school, whereas other schools, what you said, they'll go first grade to sixth grade is elementary, and then sixth, seventh, and eighth is junior
Mhm.
high. Did you go to a
Mhm.
school that did it that way?
I went to from kinder to first grade, the one that I described earlier, kindergarten. Then I went to first grade all the way to graduated high school. Yeah, but the I was separated because the elementary was more like first grade to I believe it was sixth grade. But then I switched before I went, and I moved from seventh grade to eighth grade to a junior middle school. So I didn't go to a school where it was sixth, seven, and eighth. I just jumped from sixth grade from elementary one, first grade to sixth grade, and then from there I went to a middle school because I went
Oh,
from a different
okay.
school. Yeah, because we moved. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
see.
I
Okay.
didn't get a chance to go to a middle school. I went from seventh and eighth, and then from there I went to high school. Yeah.
So you went to a school where it was first through sixth grade is considered elementary,
Mhm.
and then sixth
Yes.
through sixth through eighth was junior high.
Yes. Uh-huh. Correct.
Okay, okay. For me, it was not like that. I went to a school where it was first grade all the way to eighth grade. It was just
Oh,
elementary. Yeah, they
okay.
didn't split it up into elementary and junior high. We just
hmm
we just went straight through first through eighth.
Now,
Okay.
did you go to private? Because private is
Oh
kind of
yeah,
similar too.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did go to
Yeah.
private school. Do you think that's why it's not? I didn't have a
Yeah.
junior high.
Yeah. I think that's because a lot of private schools they do that. But I think private schools don't have a middle school. They go like what you said, all the way to eighth grade, and then from there you go to another private school, and then you go from like high school, like 9 to 12. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My
Because
school
I went
was
to a public school. Yeah.
my school was one through eighth, and then after that you went to high school. But you're saying that most public schools it is split up between
Yeah.
elementary 1 to 6, and then I'm sorry, it's one to the end of fifth, but doesn't include six.
Yeah. It doesn't include six. Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
again,
So,
it depends. It depends because what the school I went to went all the way to sixth
oh,
grade. Yeah.
okay. So roughly first grade to fifth or sixth grade is elementary school, and then from sixth to eighth grade is junior high.
Yeah, but I would say the most commonly is six, seven, and eight is your middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, and the
Middle
most
school being
commonly.
junior high.
Yeah,
Okay.
junior high. Yeah, junior middle school is junior
Okay.
high school. Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of
Okay.
they're preparing you to get to high school. That's where
Okay.
all the backpack comes to place, the locker rooms that you see on TV. All the
Oh yeah.
movies. Yeah, that they
Okay.
prepare you for that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the whole locker thing. As I understand it, the fact that American schools have lockers is unique to, like, say, Europeans. They don't
hmm
have lockers in their schools. That's what I
Oh,
understand.
really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
Okay.
it's an American thing to, go to these, essentially they're, what are lockers, you're wondering? There are these metal cabinets that are all lined up in the hallways of your school. And everybody has their own cabinet where you can put your books and stuff, and you
Hmm.
put a lock on it, and that's
Hmm.
yours. It's your
Yeah.
cabinet, your storage.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
And
but
then,
anyway, so we
mhm,
didn't have that until
mm,
high school.
mhm.
Also, in elementary school, or let's just call it, so to minimize the confusion, so let's just say between first grade through eighth grade, both elementary and junior high, did you guys
Mhm.
go to different classes? Like, did you physically move yourself to a different classroom, or did the teachers come, different teachers came to one classroom where you all were at during the whole
See,
day?
for me, it was different. When I got to middle school, we had to go from one classroom to the other
Okay.
because again, they were preparing us to go to high school. But
Mm-hmm.
from my first grade to sixth grade, or you can say fifth grade to first grade to fifth grade, we just stayed in one room. The teacher taught us everything. We didn't even have teachers that switched. At my time, I only had one teacher throughout the day.
Okay, yes. I think that's pretty common, right? For first grade through
For
fifth grade,
elementary, yes,
for
yeah,
elementary, one teacher teaches everything,
yes, correct.
and you all stay put. Everybody stays in the same room for the whole day.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, right. And then in junior high, which is also how it is in high school as well, we move around. We go
Hmm.
from classroom to classroom. The teachers don't come to us. Is that how it
Hmm.
was for you in junior high, six,
Yeah,
seven, eight?
junior high, I had to go from one class to another. They usually give you like maybe about 10 minutes,
Yeah.
roughly give or take, for you to walk to your, next subject or next class.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got to go to your locker, get your books, put your books back because you're going from one grade to another, right? So
Yeah.
technically, well, maybe not even 10 minutes. It's probably only 5 minutes. Yeah. Depends on how big depends on how big the school is. Yeah. The bigger the school, the more time they give you. Yeah.
That's true. Just it's really just enough time for you to go to your locker, exchange books and go to class.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that's why you always see in movies where kids are running between classes, going to their locker, and they're always running. They're always rushed because there's not a lot of
Yes,
time.
exactly. Yeah. And you see them walking, chatting a little bit here and there. And yeah, you see them walking and you see them going to locker rooms. Sometimes they exaggerate, but that's part of the entertainment, right? But
Yeah.
as far as how the whole flow is, I mean, it's pretty much the correct. Is That's what happens in a real life school. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's first through. Oh, let's talk about foreign language learning. So in America, in elementary school, let's just call it first through fifth grade. Um, did they teach you any foreign languages?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, they didn't do it in my school
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
I think that for the even today, most American elementary schools, so we're talking about grades 1 through 5,
Hmm.
they don't teach foreign languages. If you go to a private school, that might be different nowadays, but don't expect it as a standard. But what about junior high, sixth, seventh, eighth? Did you learn a foreign language?
Junior high school, I'm trying to remember because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Um, Junior middle school, did I learn no, I think if I did, it was an option and it was more of just like Spanish introduction or conversation, but that was it. But we
Okay.
didn't get into the language until we got to high school. So in the elementary, I had some teachers that were Spanish speaking or from Mexico,
Mhm.
and they would teach us some Spanish words here and there. So I learned some Spanish words when I was in uh, elementary school. But and also because a lot of my friends were Mexicans, a lot of them were Spanish speakers, but I can say the majority of my friends at that time were Mexicans.
Okay.
So I learned some words, Mexican words here and there. Yeah, mostly the
Okay.
bad ones.
Yeah, yeah, always those. Those are important.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, I agree with you that most although I think that again, depending on the school, if you're in a private school and the level of funding that the public school has, you may or may not even get foreign language instruction in junior high, which is between sixth through eighth grade. It's becoming more common, but it just really depends. But for sure, no matter where you are, by the time we get to high school, we do have to take a foreign language, don't we?
Yes, uh-huh. And we only have three choices, right? I mean,
Oh,
Spanish,
okay.
French, and German. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
did you have other choices? Because in a public school, we only had those three choices: either Spanish, Spanish. I mean, what did I say? Spanish, French, and oh my gosh, I'm getting a brain fart here.
Spanish, French,
Spanish, French, and German. Yeah,
German. Uh-huh. Okay.
yeah.
Surprisingly, my school had Italian, Latin,
Oh,
and in addition to what you said, and what else?
oh.
I think that might have been it, but very few
Hmm.
people took Latin. And most
Hmm.
people took Spanish. I took French.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think that a lot of kids didn't take, at least when I was in high school, didn't seem to take foreign language instruction all too seriously. Like we
Hmm.
would never, we would never practice speaking a foreign language with
Hmm.
our friends at school. Did you guys ever?
No, we didn't. We just took French just to get by. I mean, some people
Yeah.
that really wanted to get good grades, yeah, they would practice among themselves. But remember, we didn't have like in my generation, I didn't have like the internet or what you have now with the
Yes,
Wi-Fi and
true.
everything. If I had that, I mean, it would have been great, but we didn't have that at all. So, at least when I was growing up. So,
No,
no.
no. Yes, same here. We never practiced. I mean, nobody. I'll to be honest, I learned French just because I had to. I just chose a language, but I didn't care for it. So
Mm-hmm.
I certainly wasn't gonna try to speak it outside of class. And even then, um,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't there was not a whole lot of emphasis on natural conversations or to be able to speak naturally. It was just grammar and these weird set phrases that you guys probably had to learn in English, like hi, how are you, um I would like chicken or something like that.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, it's great because you mentioned in your school you had Italian and Latin. I mean, that's what separates the private school the public school because the private is always you get everything better, like the subjects, you get a higher education because you have to pay for the private schools. Public
Hmm.
schools is free. As long as you live there, you go to a free school. Your parents don't pay for anything unless if you're parents are low income, then you may get like free lunch or free breakfast, that kind of stuff. But in a private school, you got to pay tuition, and it's expensive. The reason why you're paying for that is because of the education, the safetyness of your child, and also part of it is most private schools are religious, whether mostly it's a Catholic school. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some great public schools in LA County, Los Angeles County.
Mm.
Not, I mean, there's several cities where they are renowned for their public schools, and people, if they can afford it, they'll try to live there or buy a house there just so that they can send their kids to the public school.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Now,
like Santa Monica, Pacific
mhm,
Palisades, and San
mm,
Marino are the three, or
mhm,
maybe La Cañada as well.
mm. Yeah, I mean, the public schools are different based on where you live. Like
Yes, for
private school
sure.
is still the elite. I mean, the most elite is still the private school. Public schools,
Yeah.
there are really good public schools that can compete with the private. But to me, I think the private is still the excellent, the most highest in my opinion.
Hmm.
In public school, like what you said, Ben, for example, in the South, like Newport Beach, Irvine, all of these really nice schools, Placentia, Fullerton. I mean, these are schools that at a high standard. People move there. They can't buy a house. They'll move an apartment there just because so that their school can go to that, they can go to that school. They'll move in that neighborhood so they
Yeah.
can go to that school. Now, remember, if you're in one neighborhood, let's say in a middle class neighborhood, and you want to go to this high expense, not well, high educated public school, you can't do that. You have to live in that neighborhood in order for you to go there. So it's not like other places in other countries. You can choose from going one public school to another public school as long as your parents takes you. But In the US, if you have to be in within the district. If you're not within that district or in that neighborhood, you can't attend another public school unless they're overcrowded and they need to ship a lot of the students to another school.
Okay, I didn't know that in other countries, you just go wherever you want to go. Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
like here in Brazil, I mean, there's public schools. There are good public schools. There's bad public schools. And some of the kids, they don't like to go to this public school. They go to another public school. And I'm like, really? You can't go to another, you know, you have to stay in this school. No, it says no, you can go to anyone if you want, if your parents takes you and all that, if they register you. Yeah. So I figure that maybe it happens in other countries too.
You know, I've heard of in the U.S. in LA. I've heard of people using other people's addresses so that they can get
Yes.
their kid get their
Hmm.
kid into a public school in a better public school district. I've heard of
Hmm.
that too.
Yes, that does happen. Yeah. You have family friends, they'll use your address so their kids can go to that school and they live in a, say, in a poor environment or maybe even in a middle class environment, but they want their kids to go to a nice school. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why you see a lot of people move to those high expensive neighborhoods and apartments, and that's why there's a lot of apartments because those people want to stay there because they want to give their kids an education and they stay
Yes,
in an apartment.
exactly.
Yeah, they rent the apartment. Mm.
Right, and people do that. Yeah, it's not uncommon for parents to. I mean, it's a real stressful thing that involves years of planning. I mean, there are parents that start planning where their kids are going to go to college soon after they're
Mhm.
born. I mean, some parents are very competitive like that, where they start grooming their kids for. And we'll talk about the whole process of college in a little bit. But yeah, it's a big thing. Like people are really into the education of their kids because the problem
Mhm.
being that certain like certain neighborhoods in the US, maybe the the underserved neighborhoods, the education maybe really isn't that good, or maybe it could be dangerous. They don't want their kids to fall among gangs or the wrong people, and so that's why
Mhm.
parents are real there. It's a great concern, I'll just say, for parents
Mhm.
when it comes to where they're going to send their kids to school, and it's always a stress of like, is it gonna there going to be enough money to do it, or where should we
Mhm.
live in order to send them to a good public school and all that. So
Mhm.
it's a thing.
Mhm. Yeah, and sometimes like private school, I mean, you can be living like a hour away, 1 hour away, 45 minutes away. You can go to a private school because you're paying for it. So you can be in
Yes.
different type of districts. You can take your child to that school because you're going to pay for the tuition. So it doesn't matter where you live as long as you pay that tuition. And like
Yes, that's
Ben
right.
says, parents wants a good education, they want the well-being of their child. And because if you go to a public school and it's not a good public school, even maybe a good public school, that's where you see a lot in the television, the series that you see a lot of bullying happen. You see less of that in a private school. That's the beauty of private schools. It's they teach you humanity, the correct way, the
Mhm.
right way. But in a public school, you don't get that kind of guidance. The teachers really don't give 110%. If you're there fighting or something is happening with the two kids, bullying, fighting, whatever, they'll just close their eyes as if nothing happened. In a
Yeah,
private school,
yeah.
no, they're going to break it up. They're going to say, hey, you can't do that. Go see the principal's office, or we're going to talk to your parents. But public school, yeah, anything goes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So basically and so where are we at now at high school?
Yes.
Okay, so now now you're at high school, you're grades 9 through 12, and that's when for me, that's when things got more interesting because we got to select the classes, the subjects we wanted to take, right? Um,
Yes.
so I
Exactly.
liked that, and I liked
Mhm.
because we're going from classroom to classroom. There's some movement. Um, it it broke up the day. It broke up the day more than I didn't like sitting in the same classroom all damn day. It was
Yeah.
boring.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I
and I,
agree.
like I said, I was doing that for 8 years, right? And
Hmm.
so, after that, when I went to high school, I was like, wow, this is so much more fun and the day went by so fast because you were going from classroom to classroom. I thought it was way more interesting.
And you got to wear uniform, right? You can't, in the private school, you can't wear your public school
Yes, yeah,
clothes, right? Yeah.
yes.
Only maybe on one day, like maybe a Friday, maybe, or casual day, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah, free dress day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had free dress day. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? When I was a kid, I hated wearing a uniform. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like as an adult, if there was a uniform for work, I would be okay with that. Then I don't have to think about it, you know?
Exactly. Even as a parent too. I mean, you can say, "Wow, those uniforms are expensive and this," but imagine if you go to public and every day your kids are gonna say, "I don't want to wear the same thing. I want something," and then they want the brand names. You know, I want Adidas, I want Nike, blah blah blah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah, yes, it is. You know what? I think that the uniform prevents some kids from overly expressing themselves, right? Maybe some
Yeah.
controversial logos or messaging on their attire. That definitely happens in some of your inner city schools where it becomes a problem. And then you have
Yeah.
yeah, right. You have
Mhm.
factions, and then that's how people start to get divided, and then that's how the whole gang thing starts.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because when you're wearing your own clothes, the people there they're wearing their gang clothes. So
Yeah,
when they're wearing their gang clothes and another rivalry is wearing a gang clothes, well, you know he's a rivalry, right? I'm gonna cap him, I'm gonna shoot him, and because he's a rivalry. So that's where all that tension comes into place, and that's
yeah.
why they really don't want to have that kind of public clothes. They try to limit what you can wear and what you can't wear in a
Hmm.
public school. Also depends on what inner city you're in, what kind of
Yes, that's
neighborhood
true.
you're in. So it really depends too.
Yes, that's right. So, and let's talk a little bit about like the high school culture because it seems like high school to Americans is the most defining 4 years in their maybe their life. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
so much of, and I don't know for if it's good or if it's bad, why it is, but for some reason, high school is that time in our lives where it's just sort of like who you are. It just really sort of that's when the die is cast. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We always sort of draw on our high school experience, like this is what happened in high school, and it's such a big thing. I don't know why. Even to the point where when you think reunion, it's always the high school reunion,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So we
Yes.
sort of upset Americans sort of have an obsession with the high school years, don't we?
Yes. Part of that is because of you becoming a man and a woman, right? So
Sure.
you're there having boyfriend, girlfriend, you're starting the dating,
Hmm.
your love, puppy love, and also sports. We didn't touch into sports because in the junior middle
All
school,
right.
that's where you start joining the sports and it kind of prepares you. Then you go into high school and it becomes even more greater type of activities in sports. So in that's where you start playing your neighborhoods or your rivalries here and there.
Hmm.
And like you said, that you build your friendship there because if you're in a sports, your social skills improves. You have long-lasting friends before you go to college. You meet your longtime, you know, maybe husband or wife there, boyfriend, girlfriend, and yeah.
Hmm.
So high school is a big thing. I think that's why we take that seriously. Like class reunions, high school reunions, things like that. Brings
You're
back a
right.
lot of memories. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's right. And there and that's I think in high school is when people really sort of divide into like groups, right? Like cliques, like the
Hmm.
like the jocks, the athletic ones, then the cheerleaders, the popular group, the people who are always wearing black, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. The
And I
gothic people. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, and it's still like that. I've noticed it's still like that in school.
Hmm.
It's the same cast of characters. It's amazing. No matter
Yes.
how the world has changed, we still have the same cast of characters in high school all
That's
over the world.
true.
Yes.
That's true. Whatever generation it is, it's always has the same thing all the way back
Yes.
that you can think of, all the way to the present. You still have that same. Yeah.
You have the same you have the super nerdy guy. You have the super quiet guy. You have the real beautiful one that everybody's chasing at. It's always the same cast of characters. It's amazing that nothing
Right.
has changed.
Right. Peer pressure. It's all
Yeah.
about peer pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Now,
And
I take it. I'm guessing you were an athlete, right? You're with the jocks, hanging out with the jocks, maybe.
no, believe it or not, I was the quiet one. I was the
Ah,
quiet
yeah. Ah,
yeah, I
okay.
was the quiet academic one.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
cool. Uh-huh.
I was neither liked necessarily nor hated. I was like vanilla ice cream, just steady there. Nobody had a
Okay.
problem with me. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Safe, nice
Yes.
and safe.
What about you?
Okay. It was different. I mean, from elementary, I was the class clown to you couldn't shut up. I was
Uh-huh.
always in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And then, I was always in detention
Mm,
at that time in elementary. Like, say, for example, fifth and sixth grade, those were my really crazy years. And when I was fifth, sixth, and then when I went to junior middle school, I became the opposite. I was like, I'm gonna turn in a new leaf. I'm gonna be quiet and shy and focus on academic. And so I became like more of a quiet person, and then when I went to high school, because in elementary I was also popular. When I went to high school, it was a whirlwind for me. So
hmm
I've experienced both, hanging out with the drug that they call the druggies, but I didn't do any drugs. But when you look at all those people, long hair things, they automatically stereotype, oh, that guys or those group does drugs. So I was
Yes.
in that category. I was also in the category of jocks because I played sports. So I had a lot of friends in the sports. So I was kind of in that jock kind of sporty kind of way. And because I got himself in a fight in my freshman year, I became popular. So I was also in the popular. So it was a whirlwind, And then
Oh
I was
wow. Okay.
also hanging out with just friends who were just book smart or, Poindexter, what you can say. I was also in that category. So in my high school, I was able to experience all of that chaotic, things that you described. And I find it
Mhm.
pretty, uh, funny and not fun away. Yeah.
And you mentioned detention. Tell us what is detention? Because I think some of our listeners might not know because the whole detention thing might just be an American thing.
Yeah, detention is like, for example, okay, this is like, I'm going to talk about high school. High school is, if you're late, we really take things seriously in high school. For example, if the bell rings, you get that first bell ring, it's a warning sign. That means start getting to your classes because the second bell is going to ring. And then once that second bell rings, if you're not if you're not sitting on your chair, that's detention. If you walk in the door and that second bell rings and you're in the front door, you're not in your on your sitting on your chair, that's detention. That's how disciplined my high school was and the type of teachers I had growing up. So if you're if you're there running on the hallway and the second bell rings, forget it. You might as well start
Detention.
walking because you're getting detention. And what happens in
Yeah.
detention? Basically, you do your homework. This is after class, after all the school, everybody goes home. You go into detention. You get all the people, all the kids there, mostly the troubled kids. Uh, yeah, I don't want to use a certain words because I don't want to bring people down. But
Mm.
yeah, this just say the troubled kids, they're there. Um, and even popular kids because they just can't keep quiet, so they continue to talk. Maybe they'll get one or two detention. So we just go there, we do our homework, but you have to be quiet. If you're there talking, teacher's gonna say something to you. If you don't listen, another detention. He may even tell you to go home or something, but most likely he won't. He'll just give you another detention. So
How
your
long is
detention keeps
detention?
adding up. Detention is about like an hour.
Okay, so you stay after school. Everybody gets to leave.
Yeah.
When you have detention, you have to stay an extra hour in the classroom. It's like punishment. It's like
Yes.
jail. It's like jail.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
you're doing your homework, or you're they
Yeah,
make
you're
you.
doing your homework.
Okay.
If you don't have your homework, you don't have your books, you just sit there, daydream,
Oh,
twiddle your
okay.
thumbs and fingers. Yeah, you just sit there doing whatever you want. You
Oh,
can go
okay.
there, draw a picture, whatever you want, but
Uh-huh.
the teacher will walk around. And
Okay.
what they want you to do in detention is do your homework. If you're there drawing,
Mm,
some teachers will just take that drawing and crumple it up and throw in the trash. They want you to do your homework. If you didn't have your books and you're not able to do your homework, the teacher wants you to just sit there, stare at
mm.
the wall. Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking that first of all, I guess the person. Okay, I'm thinking detention isn't so bad if you're going to be doing your homework anyway. But if you're thinking like that, then you're not probably the type of person to get detention. However, I'm also thinking, isn't that a pain in the ass for the teacher? Now they've got to stay late an hour
Yeah,
to,
yeah, but
like,
they get paid. Yeah,
okay, okay,
time and a
okay.
half maybe or something, or overtime probably. Yeah,
Oh, okay, so they don't mind. Okay. Hey, at least
yeah.
they don't
Some, I
have you
mean,
like clean the floors or you know what I mean? At least.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Now in elementary, I had detention. I had to write words like "I will not speak in class" or "I will
Oh
be
yeah, that's
quiet."
so common.
And
Yeah.
yeah, this is like it's like what you see in the Bart Simpson, right? The cartoon, the animation. So I had to do that like over 100 times, like the lines in a piece of paper. I had to
Oh
do
yeah.
that. Sometimes 200 lines.
Yes, I
I
remember
will
that.
not talk. I will not talk. I will not talk in class. Yeah. Sometimes the teacher will make you do it on the blackboard, like you saw Bart Simpson. Yeah. So you will do it on the blackboard. Yeah.
Man. Okay.
Sometimes when I had to do it on the piece of paper, I'd use two pencils, and I would use two pencils on my hand, and I would write I, and I would like I, and then
Mhm.
will, and I would do
Oh
that
yeah, that's
to
right. I
speed up
used to
time.
do that too. Yes.
Yeah.
You write one word at a
Yeah.
time to fill the
Right.
page. I all the way down. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But the
I
blackboard
totally
sucked.
forgot
The
about that.
blackboard sucked. Yeah. I had to do
Yes.
it on the blackboard. Another student had to do it on the blackboard, and that was no fun. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that's essentially that's detention. It's kind of lame if you think about it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, so that's pretty common in the US. If
Yeah.
you're late, whatever, you misbehave, whatever, you talk back to the teacher, you're getting detention. Um and then there are after school sports. That's the alternative. The good thing to do is the
Yes.
after school sports.
hmm Now the detention on junior middle school is different too. In the detention, we had to clean the room.
Oh, you
Like we
did. Okay.
literally had, yeah, we literally had to dust up or clean things. I mean, it depends on the teacher. Who's ever the teacher that was handling the detention, each one had its own different way. And
Mm-hmm.
one teacher had us clean the whole room because that was his classroom. So
I
we
see.
had to clean his classroom. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
actually smarter to make you guys clean. Otherwise, what do they get out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had to make sure the books were in order in the shelf. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if they do that now because sometimes they can say that's like labor, child labor. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you can do that now, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so different now.
Yeah.
But okay, so what else about high school do we want to tell people? What about let's see, exams? Sometimes
Yeah,
you
we
have,
have exams.
yeah.
No,
When do
go
you have
ahead.
exams? Was it like certain like quizzes throughout the semester plus a final exam, right? Is that how to maybe a midterm?
Yeah, midterms, the semesters, we have surprise quiz, surprise test. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the teacher, but yeah, we have midterms, we have
Midterms,
finals.
midterms being an exam of
hmm
everything you learned up to the middle of the semester,
Yeah. hmm
and
Could
then the
be like
final.
it's a big one. That's the one that really grades that has a high grade that really determines your grade
Oh
if
yes,
you
uh-huh.
fail your midterm. And then of
hmm
course there's the normal ones, the quizzes, surprise quiz, surprise
Yes,
test. Yeah.
yeah. And then the big final exam at the end. And then there's opportunity for extra credit, right? Like, let's say you screw up
Yes.
on your midterm or your other smaller quizzes, you can do extra credit to make up the point. That's pretty common.
Yeah. But not every teacher does that. Some teacher offers extra credit, like if you want to do it, whether it's a homework or maybe on a particular assignment. Yeah. Depends on the teacher. Sometimes there's only a few extra credit. I try to get the
Yeah.
extra credit as much as I can, but yeah.
Yes. And we also have then college entrance exams as well in
hmm
high school. We take them in high school. So I think the junior year in high school is when you start taking your entrance exams that'll qualify you to apply to whatever university or college you want to apply to, and you take that
hmm
exam. You can take it more than once. You can take it a couple of times. You can take it in your third year which is your junior year, or your senior year, which is
Hmm.
your last year in high school,
Hmm.
and they call those the SATs.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, going to those exams because going to college is optional, right? So I think this is a good place for us to maybe continue part two because
Yeah, I think
going into
so.
the college is a lot, but I also want to touch more in the high school because we kind of brief through the high school and kind
Sure.
of prepares in high school, like the sports. I think it's also an important thing and why many people goes and joins the sports because it has an
Yes,
effect of them going to colleges and things
for
like
sure.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think maybe we can continue in high school and then work ourselves to college as a part two.
Yeah, I think
So
that merits its own episode, college.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we're going to be talking about tuitions, the fees, how much it costs, the books, and maybe if you're an international student and you want to come to college and your tuition, etc. And so that's a lot of things that's going to be covering, student visa, things like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, let's stay in high school then. So
Hmm.
yes, high school high school sports, they're important because they can pave the way for you to get into a good university. But aside from that, it's just that's the culture in America, right? High school
Hmm.
sports is a big
Yes,
deal. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think maybe we do a part two and just kind of stop here and then continue on part of the other part of the high school. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea because there is a lot more to talk about, and
Uh-huh.
it's our podcast is running a bit long, but yeah, let's. This is a natural breaking point. Let's do that, and let's have
Hmm.
another podcast to continue. So,
Uh-huh.
all right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this point. I hope you enjoyed the podcast so far. We're going to have another podcast where we can continue to talk about more about high school and also a dedicated podcast just on colleges and universities and that process, that whole process. But well, thank you for listening. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and select all. That way, you'll know when we upload future videos. And also, Leon, thank you. That was a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everyone. See you later. Wait till the second one, part two.
Yes, see you then.